Back in my rocket scientist days, I have a checkered past. The lead engineer on a project asked me, do you know what I love? He didn't wait for an answer. He just said, I love figuring out what equations I need to solve a problem. And I get it. Who doesn't love a problem that can be solved with a simple set of equations? Duh. Unfortunately, most real-world problems change too fast or resist change too stubbornly to submit to simple formulas. How do you get a handle on these problems? Hello, again, I'm Pat Burns, a cartoonist for The New Yorker since 1998, and welcome to Visual Modeling for Change, or How to Think Like a New Yorker Cartoonist and Why in the Time of COVID-19. Today, our specific goal is to try to envision how we lead our organizations, communities through all the chaos of pandemic, economic meltdown, and civil unrest. How do we navigate all its unknown risks and the opportunities in this ever-changing new normal? Simply put, we can't know what that change is going to bring, but we can prepare for it by modeling the possibilities based on our experience and our present realities, with the goal of making ourselves more adaptable and more resilient through whatever insanity awaits. In about 60 seconds, we'll be stretching some muscles. It will seem crazy. Then we'll do something nearly as ridiculous, after which, 10, 15 minutes from now, we'll peek at the utter amazingness that was going on inside your heads at the time. Then, cartoons, yay. Then we'll rediscover the most overlooked component of cartooning, which just happens to be the most visionary thing you can ever do. We'll spend the remainder of our time learning how to use it to our advantage, and then we'll wrap up with a celebration of our inevitable success. Okay, my minute here, as promised, is up. So you hear that? Let me get some paper up for myself. Just put your pen to the tip of the paper right now and just listen to the music. Feel the music and try to let your hand move to that feeling. Just make it like a dance. Let your hand dance. I know it feels ridiculous. That's the fun of it. No, you're dancing with nobody's watching. Nobody's gonna have to look at this. Now, treat it like a romance. Cover the whole floor. Move, spin. Anyone wanna have any feelings about that? There's a hand.
I thought it felt fantastic.
Like with exercise, like physical exercise, your brain muscles, your mental muscles work as muscle groups. And there are 3 groups necessary for creative thinking. Got this one and that one and this one. Having an idea, or better still, achieving that mythical state of creative flow, is a major gymnastic feat that requires these 3 groups to work together as one, which is difficult because they're not used to working together that way. They prefer to work separately, and at best they can be tricked into working in pairs. So that's what we did. We tricked them into working in pairs, and we focused on our daydreaming when we were drawing, and we brought meaning into focus with humor. So what mental activity can give daydreaming meaning? Okay, let's look at what we did. We looked for random lines that reminded us of other things they were like in some essential way. Analogies, or to use the pretty word, metaphor. Metaphor is the linchpin to all creative thought. Einstein used a train metaphor to figure out relativity. Archimedes used his butt in a bath. Those of you who sit on boards use your experience as metaphor all the time. You may not know the day-to-day details of a problem facing an organization you serve, but you know what those problems are like. In cartooning, for instance, we have great metaphors. For instance, who doesn't know the cartoon metaphor of the desert island? Well, I've never been on a desert island, but I can relate to isolation, fear, desperation, resignation, things with that desert island feeling. Take this carrot. I took one out of the fridge and I thought, oh, hey, that looks like a palm tree on a desert island there. And then other thoughts started creeping in. What would this desert island be like here in 2020? You start thinking, oh, the metaphorical dangers. Instead of sharks, what do we got? We got our little bunnies. It was that chain reaction because, I don't know if you know, our experiences and memories are typically stored visually. Visual modeling triggers our associative memory. And with our associative memory, everything is connected. And we just have to find that connection. While you were browsing, if you open your chat window, hopefully you'll find a link that we've posted for you there. Please click on that link, open it in your browser. It should look like this. This page that you get to in your browser, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, will be your video for the next little bit. But keep your Zoom running for audio because we'll be coming back to Zoom for discussions and stuff, and you'll need to hear. Anyway, at that link in your browser, you will find those 24 cartoon metaphors that I mentioned. As you can see, their potential for conflict is obvious with infinite possible resolutions. Have I stalled long enough now that everybody's has it up in their browser and they can see it? Not heads nodding, heads nodding. Okay, good. We're going to give you a couple of minutes to scroll around through those images on your own. Take a moment before we do that just to check to make sure that everyone can zoom in and zoom out. Oh, we're about to send you all off into breakout rooms now, where you'll be in there with 3 other people. And each person in your group will get a chance to talk about the metaphor they chose and how it symbolizes their vision of leading the way through these unpredictable times. You can tell everybody your number. Oh, I picked this one. And everyone can look at it while you tell your story. Or they can just listen. Describe your metaphor like a story, if you can. Words like, in this image, I see, or this reminds me of, things like that can help get stories flowing. And actively listen to one another, jotting down words or doodles of things that just pop out at you. Avoid the temptation to overthink or overanalyze, especially if you're good at that sort of thing, as many of us unfortunately are. Follow those stories wherever they take you. See what intersects with your story. And have fun exploring, because that's what this is meant to be, an exploration. So we have our central metaphors, and obviously from the ones you chose, we have a good charge of emotion in the form of worry. Mute somebody. We're going to, let's look back to the muscle groups that we have. What if, to expand the questions, really asking, what if we change something? That's the first practical realization. Beyond that, we have found 3 somethings, 3 categories of things that you actually can tinker with and change. First is change an element, or change the perspective, or you can change the question. To understand better what that means, let's look at some cartoon examples. Now, okay, we see this? Hopefully in the chat window, will have received or are about to receive a link to a new mural page. It's identified by your group number, and it was meant so that if everyone picked different captions, you'd all have different pictures, but you'll still be working in your separate groups. It'll show the rickety bridge that you've chosen, surrounded by a casting call of characters. Here's how it works. If you click on a character, you can just drag it into the scene. And you can drag characters from either side. They're the same characters on each side. They're all, you got some facing left, some facing right. So you can pair them up and have any combination of characters you want. All right, we have group one. Someone want to walk us through here and read our caption?
Sari, go for it.
Okay, I hope I can do it justice. We were all scared to death of this rickety bridge. So what we decided, in order to get it wrong, we needed to load it down with, people with wide girth and lots of people coming and going. And we're going to test the structural integrity of this rickety bridge. And we thought, we actually generated a whole bunch of captions like which way out, danger, what danger, do you want to dance? Or like thinking about all the cyclists that you hear that say on your left or on your right, but we figured on your right, given the political climate. So
Ooh.
that's our thing.
Well, it resonates. I mean, talk me through this.
Well, the clown is a direct reference to something that's going on politically, I think. But
theoretically, yeah, theoretically.
Theoretically, NBC's holding a money bag, but it's the same thing. What could go wrong? Send the light people first, or the little girl's actually floating.
Mm-hmm.
All of the heavy people after. That was one of the things. Anybody want to add? It was basically what could go wrong.
Yeah, well, they made it. Yeah, metaphor, drawing, and humor. These are the key components to any New Yorker cartoon, but they also happen to be the key to syncing up your creative brain, your visionary brain, the brain that lets you understand things that you can't understand rationally, and face whatever kind of problem in any kind of business you happen to be in. Well, let's recap just to go over some of the benefits of what we've done and the cool stuff you've done. By putting things in visual metaphor, we distill the essence of them and the meaning of them. It encourages new perspectives, and it's something you can do sitting at your desk with the skills, tools, and time you have available. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. That is, that's kind of the most wonderful part about it. Because, well, practice makes habit, which means the more you do this, the better you're going to get. So somebody asked that question earlier. How can we practice this? Funny you should ask. We are going to send you via email, and hopefully we'll post it in the chat window, a link to a PDF that will give you a printable version of this exercise. These are simple things you can do to practice and develop those muscles. To see change, first you have to see what needs to be changed. And vision is visual. So that's why we visualized our challenges, modeled them, and transformed them. Because that's what all creators do when they get back to the drawing board. Thank you. I will hand you back to Jonathan now, but please know that I'm happy to stick around and gab if anyone has questions. Jonathan?
Thank you.